All right, everyone. So here's our wrestling news of the day for August 20th, 2024. Charlotte Flair's expected return timetable has been revealed. Drew McIntyre wants a match with John Cena. When is Pat McAfee going to be back in the WWE? That is in this video coming up. Paul Heyman reveals why he hasn't returned yet. Paul Heyman talks about Brock Lesnar. Rey Mysterio talks retirement. And The Undertaker reveals what current wrestler he's been giving advice to. So that is all in this video. Enjoy. So Paul Heyman, the wise man, spoke out onto why he hasn't returned to television yet, and here's what he had to say. If I come back on television, when I do, that moment is going to set up a year's worth of storyline. I will come back when it is relevant for me to come back, when I'm needed to come back, when I can add to Roman Reigns and not just ride his coattails and hang off of his glory. So this is a big little quote here because the one thing we know is that at some point Roman Reigns and The Rock are going to be going head to head. And can you imagine if The Rock screws, screws Roman Reigns previous to that WrestleMania, and then that next night on Raw, the Wise Man comes out, and that sets up the road to WrestleMania between the two with Roman Reigns at full strength. I think that'd be super cool. We'll see if it actually ends up happening, but we're going to be following this story. The Bloodline is not a storyline that's going away. It's a storyline that continues to build, and is going to continue to be main eventing wrestling PLEs, WrestleMania for at least this year, and I could see it maybe going 2 years, right? So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. All right, everyone. So Drew McIntyre wants to face off against John Cena. He said this on a recent wrestling podcast. He said, Cena is coming back for his year-long return, which is going to be awesome. I don't know if I'm figured in the plans, but I guarantee I'll be pushing and I'll be nudging them left and right to make it happen because of the amount of stories I've got about Punk and things that never happened when I was younger. I've got tenfold on him. There's never been a one-on-one match. If I have to drive management crazy, I'll drive them crazy, drive John crazy. I'm going to get that match, and I'll tear them apart on the microphone, which not many people can do in the ring, and send him packing in a happy retirement and hopefully Punk along with him. So, this retirement tour, can we make this thing 2 years? I mean, can Cena just say, you know what, I know I said this was my farewell tour, but I'm going to actually give this a 2-year run because there are so many matches that I want to see. There are so many matches out there that should happen, and there's so many matches that would be fantastic. I don't know how they're going to fit them all into the year because you got to remember, it's not just about, okay, we're putting him in this match or in this match. You got to build a little bit of story. I mean, granted, it will be a lot easier, right, to build storylines when it's the farewell tour, and basically every storyline can just be, I want to face you because you're going to be gone. But you would still want to build some semblance of story, and that takes at least a month, right? Because you got to kind of build and build and build, and then have a payoff at the pay-per-view. So we're only going to get so many of these, matches, and there's so many I want to see. There's people that aren't even in the company that want to come back into the company to get a match in here. So can we extend this thing to 2 years? Because I don't know. I just think it would be really cool to get all these dream matches. And Drew McIntyre would be he feels like a perfect kind of villain for John Cena on this farewell tour. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. Check out these other videos. All right, everyone. So during a recent, um, thing at a panel at Fanatics Fest, Paul Heyman talked about Brock Lesnar, and this is what he had to say. Brock Lesnar has always had it. Brock Lesnar always understood. Brock Lesnar always knew he was unique. He was different. He wasn't going to be the same as everybody else. And the more he grew in stature and leverage, the more we could dictate the manner in which he was going to be presented. There's no one like Brock Lesnar. I mean, even the most diehard competitors will tell you there's no one like Brock Lesnar. So we're not going to ever put him in a position where he was just going to be like everybody else. So I don't know if he was asked a question on this. My guess is he probably was on the panel. But this comes as there is a little bit of a push to get Lesnar maybe back into wrestling. Nobody knows if he's going to even want to appear on wrestling anymore, or if he's just done for good. But, we saw that thing when Triple H was asked by a reporter, and the reporter came out and basically said, Triple H came out and basically said to him, we'd love to have Brock back. Now, behind the scenes reports are the legal team doesn't necessarily want him back yet because of all the legal stuff going on. So no one really knows, I guess, what the truth is here. But clearly, WWE is fine with people associated with the company talking about Brock and talking fine about him. So that is one thing to keep in mind. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. So last night was Pat McAfee's last Raw for some time. He's going to work for College Game Day, but we now know that he will be back for Raw's move to Netflix, which is in January of 2025. So we'll get to see him again right at the beginning of their new run. Now, I've been reading a lot of the Twitter reaction to this, and we talked a little bit about it, in the last video. But one thing we're really harping on here, one thing we're really, making pretty clear is that there's a lot of room for Pat McAfee to grow and to continue to be as good as he's been. And I saw a little bit of complaints. Some people are like, he was better on his first run. People have to keep in mind what this guy does on a schedule. I mean, he's working, he's obviously a father. He has his own show. He's traveling to Raws. I mean, he is just all over the place. And certainly that wears on you. Certainly that wears on you. So if you're Pat McAfee, man, the WWE Universe loves you. They love your announcing. They love what you're doing. You have a chance to really go down as one of those greats. You think of the Jim Rosses of the world, or the Jerry the King Lawlers, or the Michael Coles. And you become more iconic as time goes on, right? That's how it goes. People in the beginning, they may not love you, but once you're there for a while, you become more and more iconic. And part of that's going to have to be, I think a lot of that greatness is going to come out when the schedule is a little lighter. I don't know how long he plans on doing his show. I hope he does it for as ever long as he wants to. I'm not saying he should drop it, but I do believe, and if you listen to what McAfee was saying, that he really loves being a commentator. And so I would really just love to see a run with him and Michael Cole where all he has to do is focus on that. Focus on being a father, focus on being on WWE commentary, and I would love to see how great that run is, because that's got to be tough. You're doing a show, you're doing all this stuff, you're traveling everywhere, and you still now until 11 o'clock at night are having to keep that kind of energy, right? You're just having to keep that high energy and know what to say and follow everything, and it has to be just a crazy life. So we just wanted to say that because a lot of people, they criticize basically everything. I think he does a really good job. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So Undertaker gave some advice to this WWE superstar. We're going to read a tweet from Russell Talk, which has a transcript. It says, "You know who I had a nice long talk with while I was there? Actually, it was Monday. It wasn't SummerSlam. It was Monday in Austin at Raw. Was Ludwig Kaiser. I'm high on him too. Obviously, Gunther's a bit further along, but keep an eye on Kaiser. I think he's going to be special. I had a long talk with him. What was really refreshing to me was I was giving him my perspective on what he should be doing, and he was like, that's what I've been feeling. I've been feeling all of this. He's just been waiting for his opportunity because he's been in the shadow of Gunther." So if you're Kaiser, this is, is there a better wrestler to get this kind of praise from? Undertaker was always known as like the leader in the locker room, right? He's one of the greatest to ever do it, and he's giving high praise. So whatever Undertaker says to you, you take that and you consider it. And it's going to be interesting to see what WWE does with Ludwig Kaiser, right? What are they able to build him up to be? And they keep hinting at different rivalries here, different rivalries there, and they're clearly trying to do something with him. I'm just not sure, where or what direction they're going in at this point, but we will see. It's interesting I would love to find out if what Undertaker said to him, right? What is it that he would like to see? What is it that Ludwig was like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. Um, we've talked about these factions can build stars, right? So you have the Imperium, you have Judgment Day, you have the Bloodline. These things are star-making machines if done right. And obviously Gunther he's moving up the ranks in a big way, right? He's already reaching that kind of star status. Now let's get Ludwig to go with him. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. So according to a new report, Charlotte Flair may be back soon. So we're reading a tweet from Russell features Charlotte Flair's return timetable looks to have her back around November, and they're citing at Viper Reports. So this is going to, obviously she's coming off an injury that has kept her out for some time now, but considering the women's division and how big it's becoming and how, how many stars that they have in there, adding Charlotte Flair to the mix is going to give it another jolt, right? This is going to give them another big name that they could throw into whatever rivalry they want to throw her into. They could put her up against whoever they want, and it's going to be an exciting match, right? It's going to be something the fans want to see. And anytime you get a return like this, which we're seeing, you could just bet that it's going to add some excitement. You just know it, right? This is why I always say, especially with, like, they're talking about with Becky Lynch and all of this, Becky Lynch taking this hiatus, right? Her taking this time. Even if she's going to return to WWE, this is the right move. Let the fans forget about you a little bit. Let the fans miss you a little bit, and then you come back and you can have even bigger storylines than you would have had. And Charlotte Flair, obviously, she didn't intend to be missing this time. Didn't want to, but now that she's healed and now that she's getting better and getting close to returning to the ring, it's going to, all the negatives are going to be gone, and it's just positives from here on out. In the sense, she's going to probably get a massive ovation when she returns. And WWE can turn that into any sort of big storyline they want, depending on which way they go with who she can wrestle, right? Which champion will she wrestle? It's going to be exciting. And looks like it's going to be around November. We'll see. Will she be at WrestleMania? We'll see. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So Rey Mysterio talked about retirement. It is crazy that Rey Mysterio, he is turning 50. He'll be 50 in December. And, he's still in the wrestling business. He's still doing his thing, but he talked about retirement. So this is what he had to say. I think what's left is to be able to plan a nice sunset and be able to thank everyone that has followed and supported me throughout the years and give them, when the time is right, a good farewell. Not something that'll happen one time and then I come back and do it again. Maybe a farewell tour, something that can mean something to me and everyone that will be there, whether it's every city, a country. This is the last time we'll be together. So now, once again, we're getting another farewell tour. We got John Cena's. Now Rey Mysterio is saying he might want one. And I hope he gets it. I really do. I hope he doesn't retire yet, because I want to have John Cena's farewell tour, and I don't want Cena and Mysterio to share the same one. I want Mysterio to get the credit he deserves. It's one of those things that, this happens in sports and in WWE undoubtedly. So, like, if you're a fan of a sports team, there's those players throughout the whole time you've been watching them that just, they really mean something to you, right? It's not the Michael Jordans of the world. It's just some role player on a team that you like, who you will never forget. And he just, in a way, he means a ton to you because you watched, you were watching every game that was being played, and you were just like, man, I'm rooting for that guy, always trying so hard, and you're hoping, can we win a title? And it, usually ends up you don't, but they end up meaning a good amount to you, and they may not mean as much to everybody else. Rey Mysterio is one of those guys who, he was so big time for so long. I mean, going back even to WCW days into his early time in WWE, like, he was legitimately someone who, like, anytime he was on the screen, you're like, well, I got to watch that. Have to watch that. Definitely have to watch that. So, I don't understand. I don't know if people watching just wrestling now, like, people who weren't, like, the reason I brought up the point with, like, the role player is that I feel like nowadays, that's more of his role, right? He's just a guy that's not necessarily in the main events anymore and all of that. But people don't understand what he was like when he was in his prime. And even the most recent matches, they've been very good. But in his prime, man, this guy was one of a kind. And he, there's just those wrestlers who, even when they don't have titles on them, you just remember them, right? And Rey Mysterio, wrestler, right? You talk about wrestling during that time period, he's a name that comes up very quickly. So I hope he gets his own retirement tour. It doesn't have to be a year-long deal unless he wants it to be a year-long deal, but it could just be, the 6 months of him back in a really good storyline and us seeing what he could do. Maybe it will be with his son. Who knows? So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next.